Hey everybody, welcome to the Ron Harris channel on YouTube, and I am joined today by Giles Tiger Thomas, all the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much for joining in on this one. This is a topic I know we've both had a lot of personal experience with, and we've observed a lot of other couples over the years with. So I think it's a really good one to talk about. Fit people, should they be partnered up only with other fit people, or can it work where one person is super into fitness? I'm just saying fitness rather than bodybuilding because that's a very, very small amount of people who are going to the gym and everything. And the other person's just a regular, guy or girl, doesn't do any kind of exercise, eats whatever they want. Very, very different lifestyles those two people are going to lead. So you've been in a fit lifestyle. You've been living this lifestyle since you were a teenager, right, Giles?
Yeah, since I was 13.
Okay. So you actually have a lot more experience, more commentary here, because I've been with the same woman since you were like 10 years old. So I've only had one really long-term relationship. It's my marriage. You've been in relationships over the years with various women. So compare and contrast, and no names, unless you want to use like initials or something. I don't know. How was it different when your girlfriend, partner, whatever you like to call her, was sharing that lifestyle with you versus someone who had no interest in it?
I think it's a big difference between someone that leads like a sort of active, healthy lifestyle, trains, eats well, to someone that actually competes. Because after the last relationship, I said, that's it. I don't want to be with anyone that competes. Then I got with Lauren, and obviously she was like, literally, I think as we were dating, she was prepping for a bikini show, you know. But yeah, I think I've kind of dated all sorts of women that didn't train. Some of them actually ended up starting training because they were with me. They started sort of eating. I think I don't think I could be with someone now that obviously I'm with Lauren, very happy, but I don't think I could be with someone that didn't at least kind of look after their health, because I train now more for health than for sort of bodybuilding reasons. Obviously after last year.
Right.
You know, I train because I've got to keep my blood sugar down. I do my cardio. I do my weights. I mean, like I didn't train last week. The weather was so bad. It was so cold.
Oh.
And my blood sugar just creeps up. But I don't think I could have ever seen myself with someone that did no exercise, didn't eat clean. And it's not a denigrating thing. It's someone who's overweight or whatever. I've had girls of different shapes and sizes, but I think someone at least that looks after their health through diet and exercise. But as for like someone who's competing non-stop, I've been through that, and I'm not sure I'd want to go through that again.
Yeah, I don't listen to a lot of relationship experts because I don't really care. But some things that I've heard over and over again are people assume that you're going to be a great match as a couple and you'll be married or together forever if you have the same hobbies. But others say that's a complete myth. Completely inaccurate when studies are actually looked at. It's common values between you two that are more important than common interests like, oh, I like to go horseback riding or fishing or whatever that is. But when you say someone looking after your health, that sort of does represent your core values, is that you care about your body and being healthy and trying to eat good foods and not eat a bunch of crap, and you're taking care of your body. Those are your values. That's important to you. Whereas to someone else, and forget the vanity, that's a whole other aspect. But if somebody just doesn't care, they let their body just deteriorate. I mean, to me, it just shows a lack of respect for yourself.
But Ron, that's only going to get worse over time, isn't it? As they get older and more unhealthy and more overweight. And I think that really goes against the grain of what, you're like, what, 53 now?
54.
54. Wow. I mean, you're 54 and you're still in great shape, even when you had your leg, strapped up, you were still training, you're still in condition, you're still watching what you eat. And I mean, look how nice it was for you. And I saw that post, you, Janet and your son, Christian, and you all went to the gym together. And isn't it nice that you can do that together as a family?
Yeah. I mean, I feel so blessed because that's, something I dreamed of. I don't want to get too off topic, but I dreamed of, when I was a kid, when he was a baby, when he was born, I said, someday I'm going to train this kid. I'm going to train with him. It's going to be so awesome. And I was like, I hope he's not one of these kids that hates it and doesn't want anything to do with weights and everything. And thank God, I never pushed it on him. But let's stick to relationships. This is the thing I want to know. When you were with women who did not share the lifestyle, You have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. You got to go to the gym probably like 5 days, some days 6. You go to the gym a lot. You spend a lot of time at the gym, and you spend a lot of time either you were cooking or they had to cook for you, and a lot of time actually shoveling the food in your mouth 5, 6 times a day. Did that get on their nerves? Did that become annoying to them?
Well, I think I've done 14 shows, and I think it was only maybe two of those 14 shows where I wasn't in a relationship, The rest of the time, when I was single in between relationships or whatever, I was single, I used to just blitz the shows. I do one show after show after show because I always cooked my own food. I always did everything myself. I did absolutely everything. And I just thought, I want to take advantage of this period of time because I've always been in relationships. And I thought I'm going to take advantage of this time to do what I want to do and not have to sort of, living by myself and, not have to sort of worry about anybody else's needs or whatever, because I know it obviously was, especially when competing, it's a very selfish sport. But like a friend of mine now, he was with a girl 2 years and they got engaged a couple of months ago. And now he's decided he wants to compete again. They finished because she doesn't support she doesn't want him going. Now he's off shift work. She doesn't want him going to the gym as often, more than 3 times a week, and he wants to get bigger and he wants to compete. And so, I mean, the relationship just literally weeks after getting engaged, they just split up, purely because he wants to pursue it. And he said, she wants children, and I don't want children, and she wants me to not train as much and just to do the 3 days a week. He says, but I want something different. So of course, the relationship has gone south.
Yeah, and it's probably better that he broke it off now instead of letting the resentment build up. We're talking about competitive bodybuilding now, and that's a very extreme level of a fit person. It's about as extreme as it gets, and it's so selfish. And true confession time, I know for a fact I competed. I only did a couple shows before I met Janet. 2, 3. That's right. I'd only competed twice before I met Janet. I competed a total of 30 or 32 times, something like that. So she was with me through many, many a prep. And I was not the greatest husband. I was not the greatest partner.
Why?
Because it was so selfish. A successful marriage, it's a balancing act. It's compromising, supporting each other instead of one person demanding that the other person cater to all their needs. You have to be there for each other. And especially toward the last, I'd say, 6 weeks of any prep I did, it was all about me, my meals, my cardio, my tanning, my posing practice. I got to go to the gym. Everything else was secondary, everything else. And we had a lot of fights over it, to the point where she, after my last contest, not because of that, but she said, I'm never going to go to any of your shows ever again.
Wow, 2013.
2013, because she got.
Did you find after 2013, because you haven't competed since, but you carried on training and eating well? Do you find that by what you're saying, am I right in saying that your relationship improved after you stopped competing?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, it would always improve right after the contest was done, because then I'd sort of try to go out of my way to make up for the a-hole that I had been for the last. Hey, let's be real. We got it. We have to talk about the drug aspect of it. You're on these drugs, especially in the final phase of competition, these hardening drugs, the Tren, the Masteron, halotestin, plus you're dieting, you're low on carbs, you're tired, you're just irritable. You're not a good partner to anybody in that state, no matter how you might be in normal life. When you're dieting for a show and it's toward the final stages, and especially we're throwing in these PEDs that we use to get that crazy, shredded, grainy, hard, vascular look. Your testosterone's through the roof, and unless you're crushing your estrogen with a ton of Arimidex or something, your estrogen's through the roof. So you're emotional, you're flying off the handle over stupid things. So competitive bodybuilding, and like you said, you were with a competitor and you didn't want to be with any competitors. I don't think two people. I think it's very, very difficult for two people who are competing to be in a success, happy, if there's such a word. I hate to use that word, but I'm going to use it because I can't think of anything else. A happy relationship together, because you're both so focused on yourself, and your contest is the most important thing to you and how you look on stage. And it's the same with that person. You can't have two people who are like totally obsessed with themselves like that.
I think it depends, because obviously with with Global and all these other shows I've done, I mean, the amount of couples, bodybuilders I've spoke to that have partners that do compete, have been on the prepping at the same time, I literally think it's 50-50 of how many say it pushed us apart and others that say it actually brought them together because they're in the same routine. Whereas others, they may get a bit competitive with each other, or there's a bit of envy because the other one's at a higher level than they are, or one's doing better. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I find actually how surprised at how many said actually that brought them a lot closer together because of the structure.
Yeah, well, that's a psychological aspect. It's probably not even just pertaining to fitness and bodybuilding. Is people, if both of the people are what I like to call attention whores, where they have this bottomless pit that they can never fill with attention and validation and compliments from other people, you can't have two people like that together. Two attention whores do not mix, because it seems to me like every relationship that I've seen break up in our world, I could tell they both wanted the spotlight, and the spotlight can only shine on one.
I think there's maybe a difference between pre-social media and post-social media, because what a lot of couples are like, they'll be thinking, oh, you're getting ready, I can use you for content, you can do stuff together. But before that, there was the only attention you would get is literally on the day you compete. So beforehand, in the run-up, there's nothing. But I think in the run-up, maybe it's good to grab content, so maybe they feel that they have more use for each other in the relationship.
Yeah, getting back to the situations where one person in the relationship is not a fit person and has no interest in it. I've seen situations like that where they become sort of envious, or they feel very insecure because, they say, I'm just going to use a random male-female example. Say the guy is this great bodybuilder or physique pro, whatever. He's got this incredible body, and people all over the world are DMing him and telling how great he looks. And then the woman in this couple, maybe average looking, maybe a pretty face or anything, but certainly, doesn't work on her body at all. She could very easily start to get jealous and insecure because he's getting all this attention, and she's going to feel like, well, he's getting all these attention from these women with these perfect bodies. They're pro bikini, pro this and that. They've got 1 million followers on Instagram, and I'm just a regular woman. I could see how that could build a lot of resentment and lead to them breaking up. Have you seen that happen?
Yeah, I think it depends on the categories as well. I mean, I think when you get the ones that are the male bodybuilders are with like female bodybuilders, I feel like they can become a little bit competitive. And also, I've seen a lot of female bodybuilders go wrong because the guy in the relationship is probably guiding them with things like their gear and everything else. So I think I find that they sometimes get competitive with each other. But I think if it's say like bikini girls with an open pro, I feel like that seems to be working very successfully for a lot of pros, because I mean most top pro bodybuilders are with competitive athletes because I think they understand the lifestyle. And the thing is, if they're in that industry, that's where they're going to meet that kind of women, And I know one pro, I won't mention his name, but I know that when he kind of rose to a certain level of stardom, he was DMing literally dozens and dozens, probably maybe even hundreds of pro bikini girls to see so he could really. I'll tell you. I won't say online. I won't say publicly. But I heard he was DMing a lot of girls. In fact, one girl I spoke to, she said he was DMing me and several women in my gym alone. So you can imagine how many around the world. And the next thing you see on Instagram, and he's got this, we're in love and my bae and all that, and but he's such an extraordinary human being and stuff, and then because obviously it's I don't want to be cynical, but obviously it's very good for their profile to be this power couple.
Of course. So another thing that I've noticed, one thing that I've seen, I haven't seen a ton of it, so I don't want to make it seem like this is the norm, but a lot of times I see women who are super fit, maybe they're pros, and their husband's a regular guy. Usually he has some money. Sorry, women, I'm just being real here. You're just trying to be protected and survival. Human evolution. We're just cavemen and living in cities now. But what I see is a lot of those women at shows. I'm not in the hotel room. I don't know that they had sex with these guys, but I see them being very, very flirty with the good-looking, jacked up, juiced up guys. And in many situations, I got the vibe that they were cheating on their husbands back home. And I'm sure it happens the other way too, with guys And it doesn't matter, even if both of them are fit. Cheating happens in every possible scenario you can imagine. But I think the temptation might be there, especially when I keep bringing up drugs, but these testosterone, if you're on drugs, whether you're a male or a female, your sex drive is going to be through the roof. And, I think monogamy becomes more challenging, A, when you have that sex drive, but more importantly, B, when you have opportunity. Was it like Chris Rock said ugly guys never have to worry about. I'll think of the exact quote later. It's like, nobody, you shouldn't, it's not a flex to say you've never cheated on your wife if no other women ever wanted to bang you in the first place. It's like, but if you had a ton of women after you and you were still strong and stayed faithful to your wife, then you deserve a little pat on the back versus someone who never had any opportunity. It's like, well, no women wanted you anyway, dude. So anyway. What the heck are we talking about? I don't even know anymore. Let's start getting into some of the comments and see what these people want to say. That's why we're live. That guy 6 just says, yes, they should be fit. People should be with fit people. Mike Cox is here. What's up, Mike? Raymond Jones, thanks for being here. Alon Powers here. James Gary from my gym. Raymond Jones, first one. Even if you marry Health Nut, there is a possibility it will change after having a kid or two. Well, yeah, those of you who are married and have kids, that a woman's role basically changes drastically once she becomes a mother. You're not the center of her universe anymore. That child is now, and then, as it should be. The kid needs a mother, needs to be raised and everything. So, yeah, I mean, someone might be into, and I'm sure it goes both ways, where a lot of guys let themselves go too. People get married and they're all fit and healthy, and then they get very comfortable and complacent. Maybe they stop working out, they stop eating right, start drinking a little bit more, start snacking on donuts and that. And one of them might still be very, very health conscious and concerned with maintaining a certain look, and the other one might have just, that doesn't matter to them anymore. That I could see that being a bait and switch type of scenario in their mind. We're like, this person doesn't even care anymore. I'm going to find myself a fit girl or guy.
Well, Ron, in regards to your situation, because you and Janet both used to be competitive bodybuilders, right?
Yes.
And I remember a few years ago she got into CrossFit, and that was where her interest then lied. So obviously, but it's still physical exercise. It's still something where you're going out and you're spending 2 hours going to the gym. It's just, you basically just switched the kind of exercise she's doing. It's not like she was a bodybuilder and then she had a couple of kids, then decided to just eat herself to 300 pounds and never compete again, never get off the sofa. It's very, you've still got that interest of like, what, and also you both very much look after yourselves. Do you know what I mean? You both look very, very, I mean, there's not many, I don't know, I forgive me, I don't know Janet's age, but I imagine it's around your age because of how you met.
She doesn't care. I'll say it. She'll be 53 this month.
Okay, so you're basically the same age, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, most 50+ couples don't look as good as you two.
We're very vain,
Yeah, well, no, it's not vain; it's pride.
It's pride. Well, do you know Bumstead and Ian Valier just went to Turkey?
Yep.
Yeah. So Janet had booked my trip there while I was covering the Olympia for MD. Oh, wow. So I'm going to be going end of next January. This is all going to be hair. Hopefully. It's funny.
Sorry to interrupt. There used to be a real stigma attached to that. And then I noticed in the last few years, I think probably because it became so available in places like Turkey, where it's like quarter of the price and they do a good job. My barber had his done, and he was posting about it all over social media because he's well connected. And I think, and he was really proud of it. He didn't wear a hat, when he was working. He was like, you could see that it looked weird when it first had it done. But now it looks amazing. And I mean, I thought that was great of Chris Bumstead and Ian Valier, because I mean, Bumstead, I didn't even realize his hair was receding or anything. But I think
it was barely.
Yeah, but obviously just trying to catch it before it does, Yeah.
Plus, I'm sure they got everything for free. I'm sure.
I would imagine Bumstead did. Yeah.
Bumstead, probably Ian too. I mean, they have enough social media presence.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I think Samson's got that McLaren, and I think he either got it for free or a big hefty chunk off because he's promoting the company that gave it to him.
It was a certain dealership, I think, right, in London or
yeah. I mean, those kind of cars, they hold their value anyway. So I was just talking to somebody about that today who owns a Lamborghini, and he said the Lamborghini I've got, the model I've got, has actually gone up in value. So it dropped and now it's gone back up. He said I could sell it for exactly what I paid for it 5 years ago. Sorry, I'm digressing.
No, I have one. Someone said in the last live I did that Ahmad Ashkenani is sponsored by Ford. I said, Ford Motor Company? No, I don't think so. And I looked at, he's not. He's sponsored by a Ford dealership, which isn't bad, and they gave him some great, I don't know, whatever it is, but
I've seen that many times. I remember a British bodybuilder got he got a big truck, and obviously it was it was just for being a bodybuilding champion. He got it because he was promoting it.
I'll take a free car truck. Shit, Mike Cox. Yeah. I love Mike Cox's old school stories. I dated a female bodybuilder once, and it wasn't a good mix. 2 people on hormones and insecure wasn't good. Every other girl I dated was not involved in the sport, and it was cool. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, especially when 2 people. Did you ever prep at the same time as one of your girlfriends for anything?
No. I was prepping. Last year I did was 2013. She'd done hers in the March. I did mine in the September.
Okay.
Yeah, so we weren't prepping at the same time. We weren't living together either.
Yeah, because I'm just curious. 2 people are both on a bunch of drugs that can make them more aggressive and just crazy. I think things like Tren and Masteron, Tren in particular, it makes you kind of crazy.
Never did with me. Never did.
I mean, not in a good way.
I got the only side effect I got off it was the coughs. I never got the night sweats. I never got insomnia. I never got aggression. I used to get a bit touchy when I came off everything.
Trentastic. Yeah. For you young guys out there, Tren is not the only steroid, it's just one of many. But
yeah. I'd never take that again. I mean, I don't take gear anymore, but if I haven't taken Tren for, I don't think I probably haven't taken Tren since my last contest. Last 6 weeks I used to use it.
Fair enough. Mike continues. Mandy, his lovely wife, is the first girl I've trained with and was super supportive when I was competing. She pushed me to doing it, but once prep was over, I was back to my normal self. Yeah, I remember, I don't know how long ago it was, 3-4 years ago. I was talking to Mike. He was looking really, really jacked. And I said, you got to do one last show. And Mandy's like, oh, I keep telling him, wow, you're actually encouraging to compete. She was all for it, whereas most wives I know would be like, ugh, you're going to be dieting again, and you're going to be, no, God.
But also, Ron, never underestimate the power of a super supportive partner that really wants you to do it. Samson Dowder would never have competed if it wasn't for Marlena. Brandon Curry would never have become a bodybuilder if it wasn't for Brandy. Debbie Yates was I used to see her when I used to see Dorian, and she was basically, she's almost like Marlena is now. She was like his manager. She was making sure, I saw a video of on Instagram, and it was she's in the cutting up all his chicken and cooking all his food. I've stayed at his house, never. So if it wasn't for those super supportive partners, I mean, they might not have ever even got on stage, let alone become, the great champions they ended up becoming.
And can you imagine the opposite scenario where people were, and I'm sure this has happened a million times. I'm just going to use the husband being the competitor in this scenario where he's dieting and prepping and all this, and the wife is just constantly giving him shit about it. Oh, you got to have chicken breast again, or we're spending so much money on meat. You did cardio. Now you made 5 sets of dirty clothes today from doing cardio twice and training, or just devaluing it, saying, you're wasting money. You're not going to make any money. You're just going to get a plastic trophy. And just sort of shooting down all his hopes and dreams and really making him feel like his pursuits and the stuff he's spending time and effort on are stupid, worthless.
Yeah, but these guys don't start off as champions. I mean, Samson Dowder was working in construction until 2 years ago. Derek Lunsford, he didn't start off, even though he progressed very, very fast. He's been with the same Jelsin since he was 17. I mean, he didn't, he wasn't great from the outset and making great money from the first. It took years to get to that point of having that partner with them, supporting them and making them believe in themselves. So I think when you get someone that's really all in and 100% supportive, then I think as we've seen many times, Lee Haney's wife, Leela Braddock, Robin, we've seen some really, really great things happen.
Yeah, and I think if you're a competitor and you have very high aspirations, and let's hope that you actually have the physical tools, some genetics to make that happen. You're not just delusional. You really either need someone like that as a partner, or you need to be alone, because someone who is going to drag you down by nagging and criticizing and mocking, it's mentally to have that every day and night, it's just going to tear you down, and there's no way you'll hit your potential.
But Ron, relationships work both ways. So maybe when it comes to, maybe she wants to study for something, maybe she wants to stay it's going to come a point where there'll be a time where relationships are about reciprocation and mutual, mutual respect and support. So it might come a time where she needs that support for something she wants to do, like you want to do bodybuilding, or for example, that so having been those kind of relationships, they very rarely work out well, because we do what we do because we like to do it, and that's what drives us, that's what excites us. It's like I've always been a slave to my passions. I've always been, I've been so far into this industry. I probably should have left it years ago, but I just love it so much. I can't. It's like nothing else draws my interest like this industry. So like when me and my last partner, split. Once she was done with bodybuilding, we kind of just went like overnight. We just completely drifted, and then a year later it ended. So sometimes you got to have those shared interests, or if you don't have the shared interests, you have to have shared support either way in the relationship.
Yeah. I hope I'm not making it sound like women are supposed to cater to men in relationships. I don't believe that's the case. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So Raymond Jones first said, basically, fit people are high maintenance. And then he says, too high maintenance people in a relationship sounds like a recipe for disaster. Yeah, most relationships in general don't last anyway, no matter who we're talking about in the world. Relationships are not easy for any two people, I don't think, to make last and endure over like decades.
I mean, if you're with someone that literally, you're a competitor, you're in your period of competitive bodybuilding, and you're with someone that literally not only doesn't understand it, but actually despises it and thinks it's stupid, I don't really think that relationship has got any future.
Oh, I agree. And I love bringing up drugs over and over again, but I think
don't call them drugs.
PEDs, what do we call them? Super supplements. Let's just say
muscle medicines.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the point I'm making with that is that could be a huge issue too, when you're a competitor and you're using these things and the other person has no interest in training and they see you like injecting these things all the time, or, maybe you need help with them. Like I can't reach my lats. I have to have Janet because I have so much lats. My butt is like all scar tissue. Even I don't want to put any more on my delts because they get lumpy. So I've been putting it in the lats. And I can't do it myself. I have to have Janet do it.
I used to. I told Charles Clare. I told you this story before. I told Charles Claremont once. I used to put a green 1.5 inches, the long one, in my outer tricep. Ooh. I used to straighten my arm, find the meat of the outer head.
Yeah.
And then I would bend my arm, and then I would push it in, and then I would stop when I hit the bone, and then I would push in the propionate. And I remember telling Charles Claremont that, and he literally was starting to retch. He was nearly vomiting. He was like, "That's disgusting." I said, Don't you big guys, you pros do it? He says, no. He says, God, no. He says, no, we use a blue and we put it in our glutes, Charles. You're a maniac.
Yeah. But I could see that being a point of contention where, they're illegal. Well, it's not like I don't see anybody like doing hard time over it. It's an illegal thing. A lot of people might see it, even though it's not a recreational drug. To a lot of people, a drug is a drug, and they just see you as an immoral person for putting a drug in your body, even though, half the world's on Prozac and all that.
Those relationships wouldn't work for me, I'm afraid. I think that would have been a red flag, and I would have found somebody else.
Mike Cox, we kind of went over this, but low carbs and trend do not make a happy person. No. You're not going to be Mr.
I was very happy. I was very happy on low carbs and trend. I was buzzing. I was in my element. I loved it.
You're an anomaly, Giles. I mean, I would not. Trend. I was a dick. Because yeah, I hate. Yeah. I don't like admitting it. I'm not proud to admit it, but I feel like I feel compelled to admit that. Alon Powers, if you 100% live the essence of the natural fitness lifestyle, eating clean, training, sleeping, then absolutely yes. Well, even because Alon's he's a natural competitor. Even if you're natural, though, you're still devoting so much time and effort into training and eating that if you're with a partner who is not interested in any of that, I can't see how it's not going to be a problem at some point down the line.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's just the eat. Well, I would get annoyed. I could see how people would get annoyed because a woman would say, "You're eating again? Didn't you just eat?" And you'd be like, "Oh, that was 2 hours and 10 minutes ago. I have to eat again. Don't you understand? I eat every day."
I think it made a difference because even if I was for those few shows, I forget I was 1 or 2 shows, but if I was with someone, I never put any of it onto them. I probably cooked 99.99% of every single one of my meals fresh when I competed. I don't think I'd have even let them if they offered because I was so controlling over what I wanted to basically of what I wanted to know exactly what was going in my mouth and how, because I used to weigh everything. And I mean, I was really meticulous. That's how I got such good condition,
Yeah.
I just don't think I would have trusted or felt comfortable with somebody else doing that for me. Plus, it was my choice. Yeah. So I think, I've seen some competitors and they have these partners that just look absolutely exhausted because their partner literally does every single thing for them. They do their jabs, their food, their washing, their everything, and they just look completely put upon.
That's called slavery. But,
yeah.
Even Janet, who is very understanding and she clearly understands the lifestyle, she doesn't like to go certain places with me. Like if she's going to the beach with her sister or something in the summer, she'd rather that I don't go because she says you're a pain in the ass because you have to eat all the time. Because Janet, she doesn't eat as much as I do. She has a slower metabolism. She can go for like 4 hours before she even feels the need to eat. Whereas I go anything past 3 hours and I'm about to, my blood sugar.
You've told me this before, and I'm really shocked because yesterday I ate 3 meals, which is like absolute starvation for me. But I've started creeping up normally when I'm training to 4 or 5 meals. But I found that you can, as you get older, you can get away with eating a lot less, You won't lose any muscle run. I think you're so used to eating so frequently. I think if you reduced your amount of meals, I don't even have breakfast till about 11:30. I do fasted cardio. I drink water in the morning. I get my blood, it's like an intermittent fasting. I think I don't lose weight. I don't actually kind of,
To me, I feel like if I feel hunger, I shouldn't feel extreme hunger ever during waking hours.
You ever tried fasting?
I tried it once.
For 4 hours?
I didn't even make it through a whole day. I think I was going to fast for 1 day and I didn't even make it. I was like so hungry. I'm like, screw this. I don't need to do this for any religious purposes. Come on now.
I mean, I was with Phil Heath on that tour, and I mean, he could get away with so little food,
Really?
It was unbelievable. And and even by the 3rd or 4th day, by just training, he started to get bigger. And I was like, you're not really sleeping that much. Your eating is really sporadic, and you're not eating that because with him, he wasn't eating. Probably wasn't eating as much as I was.
Really? Wow.
And it was like, how do you even maintain that amount of size? I've been into like Nando's with Zach Khan, and I've eaten more than him, and I'm like the size of his bloody arm.
That's funny because I spent, it was like 2012 something. I was with Branch Warren for like 3 days because we were both working for Gaspari at the time, and he was doing a tour of gyms and supplement stores in my area, in the New England area. We were driving all around the different New England states and everything, and he ate so much food.
I've been with him.
I remember one time we were at a supplement store and the owner brought some sushi, and he meant it I think he meant it to be for both Branch and myself. But when he opened it up and Branch looked at me, I'm like, I'll go get my own food. Don't worry. Because I knew he was like, that's not going to be enough. He could look at it and say, I need that much food. You can't have any of this, Ron. Just because. Yeah. So some guys clearly can get away with eating less.
I've been with Branch twice as well. Once in FIBO in 2014. And he there was a bit of lost in translation because he was waiting ages for his food, and they came over and there's a tiny little chicken breast. It was it was like a pigeon, and then there was a little bit of rice on it. And he says, and he was really, in fairness, he was very polite. You could see he was so frustrated. He said, "Please," I said, 300 grams chicken with rice, please. And he said, "Please." And she didn't really understand his English, but he said, "Just that times 2." And then also when I was in Sweden last year, we went to GASP in Stockholm, and Michael from GASP took us. There was Keon Pearson, Branch, Guy Sistanino, and the GASP team. Yeah. And he had, those, I think it was one of those Chateaubriand things, it's meant for like 2 or 3 people.
Okay.
And he just ate the whole thing. And then he ate his protein first, and then he ate all his carbs as well. We'd all finished our food. We were just watching him eat. Yeah. And he's just going to get big and eat big.
Who is this?
Branch.
Oh, Branch. Oh, we're still talking about Branch.
Last year. Yeah, and I was just like, and it was about $120 as well. Worked out $120 this steak.
Right, so he probably has an above average appetite. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Kelly Reed, male bodybuilder named Kelly, because I follow him on Instagram. So true. I've seen that firsthand. Change right after the show. It's a roller coaster of emotions for the one receiving that. Well, another thing I don't know if this ever happened to you, Giles, when you were competing, but when I would be done with the show, I went from doing all those drugs to no drugs, and it was like inside was like a storm, chaos of hormones, where I'd be like happy 1 second, sad the next, angry, It was crazy. And I went the last time, so 2013, my last show, we went on a family vacation because I remember I said you gotta sort of make up for lost time and being such a dick. So we went down to Myrtle Beach, and I was just having the hardest time just being a normal human being, like crazy thoughts and emotions because all those drugs were trying to clear my system. And my poor family again.
I was exactly the same because when I came up, when I'd done a show or whatever, I just didn't want to jab anything, take anything. I just wanted to stop. So I never used to go through a proper PCT. I would just come off everything, and usually the first few shows, my diet was absolutely horrendous. I just wanted to eat cereal and just crap, you know. So I really, really regret that. Actually, I think I should have been more. I went from one extreme to the other, and I think that was part of why I had some of my health problems.
Yeah, probably. Alon Powers has a good comment here. He says, however, if you're both enhanced, then you're destined for doom and 911 calls. Hashtag Trenbolone sandwiches kill relationships.
Stop it.
Well, did you see that Netflix? It was a Netflix series, Killer Sally, about Sally McNeil.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was good. It's good.
And I mean, that's an example where they were both enhanced. They were both on gear and always fighting. And she ended up murdering him with a shotgun.
Yeah.
So be careful, guys. Good Lord. And now Mike Cox brings up another power couple, Titus and Ryan. Perfect example of how not to have a relationship.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's be real. That was a lot of recreational drugs toward the end that was their downfall. Yeah. Specifically which ones I have no idea, but whatever they were, they weren't good.
Well, you had a front row seat because you used to party with them, didn't you? You've been out with them a lot.
Yeah, the last time I saw him was it was about 2 months before the murder. It was their last party they ever threw. It was a little club on the Vegas Strip. I can't even remember what it was called, but he was very much downsized. He had denim jacket, denim jeans. What else are jeans made of? But for some reason, he felt the need to inform me that he had his kit on him. He pulled up his pant leg and showed me he had like a syringe and some other crap strapped to his ankle. So whatever drug he was using had to be like injected on a regular basis.
Nubane. I used to do that. I used to have a syringe down my sock.
I think this was beyond. I suspect it was more than Nubane.
I did that, and I was at a house party once, and my cousin was with me, and I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. And I showed him, and I basically showed him I had a syringe down my sock, and he went back to my auntie and uncle and told him that I was IV-ing crack cocaine.
Ooh.
It's like, where did you know I was injecting cocaine or something, or it was speed or something? Yeah, I think it was crack cocaine. I'm like, no, not really, because I didn't tell him what it was. So I suppose he just put two and two together, and then obviously that spread like wildfire around my family. So that was helpful.
Yeah, I suspect with Craig, maybe Mike Cox, maybe you have a better insight than me because I've been around recreational drugs. You've been around. We've all been around recreational drugs. All three of us. We've got our own pasts and everything, but I suspect
way in the past.
Yeah, I mean methamphetamine. I think is what he was on. I think he was on meth because that to me that would explain the weight loss because he was so much downsized.
Yeah,
manicness, the manic way of thinking, and the person. I don't think today we don't know how that girl died, do we? Exactly.
No, I think there's because things like meth and certain things like crack, they're not really in the UK, and I'm glad they're not. Because I think heroin, crack, and meth. I think there's no upside to that. You can't just dabble in it. It's a path to absolute darkness.
No opioids, and I think OxyContin. One of them is it heroin or OxyContin? One of them
they're the same thing.
Yeah, but there's one of them that's like there's something that's like the most addictive. It's like your chances of not being addicted are like minuscule. Like if you try it, you're going to be addicted to it forever, pretty much. Enough about that. All right, let's keep on track. Patty Gold Clayhar, married to the Jamaican tank Phil Clayhar. Thank you so much for stopping by, Patty. She says, well, thank goodness Phil didn't care either way. Hi, guys. Hi, Patty. Yeah, that's an example. She's another one who's, I'm not saying she cooks. I don't know if she cooks all his meals, but she's clearly a great support system for Phil. She's very supportive. We've often said that when we criticize a bodybuilder in any way, we usually don't hear it from the bodybuilder. It's usually their girlfriend or wife that comes at us with anger because they get more upset than we do, than the bodybuilder does about the criticism and stuff. But Patty, great wife, great wife from everything I've seen. Petty. Oh, Giles here. Yeah, people are happy to see you, Giles.
Mark who?
I don't know who Mark is. Mark is.
Mark who? I'm curious now.
Yeah, let us know, Mark. He's got Flex Wheeler in his avatar, but I don't know. Killer Sally and Ray McNeil. Yeah, we just talked about them. Mike says, are schmoes secure because they don't mind their female wives being out there? Well, there's a whole. I'm stupefied, mystified by a lot of relationships because I personally can't comprehend this. Cuckolding. You know what that is, Charles?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Will Smith.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think Will did it consciously. There are a lot of couples where the guy is consciously, he wants to see it thrills him to know that his wife is with other men. Like a lot of times they like to be there and watch. I'm like, oh my God, I'd want to kill the guy. I don't see it.
Me too. I'm not into all that shit.
That's not sexy to me. That's how I see rage. Anyway, yeah. So that's what he's talking about, are schmoes. So those are the guys. Do you have that word, schmoes?
Yeah. Well, I think I would use the term sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy. Okay. Well, I like schmoes because it's specific to female bodybuilders. Sugar daddies can be financially supporting any woman they're attracted to.
Similar thing though, and it's along the same lines really. It's someone who's basically bankrolling them and worshipping them and putting themselves beneath that person, and because their kink is like strong, powerful women,
Yeah, because wrestling, before there was an OnlyFans and everything, a lot of female bodybuilders made their money doing private wrestling sessions. So some guy would pay them. It was usually a wimpy, very physically unassuming guy. He would pay this big jacked up woman to put him in, squeeze his head between her thighs, or carry him around like a baby, or I don't know what. I've only seen a couple clips over the years of videos of that, and it was so cringy I had to stop watching.
Yeah.
I can't watch this. It's
I've never been into all that. I'm afraid. No.
Matarazzo and Sam. And Mike Cox brought up another relationship I forgot about. Mike Matarazzo and Sandy Riddell. Do you remember? You remember Mike? Do you remember Sandy?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, of course I do.
Blonde. She was a firefighter in Phoenix. Very big girl.
Yeah. Matarazzo was one of my favorites. I absolutely loved him. I remember when he won the USA's in '91, and I just thought he was absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I thought he was incredible. I thought he was going to go a lot further than he did, actually.
I think he did, popularity-wise. He was a much more popular bodybuilder than most of the guys who were beating him, for sure.
True.
And he made better money because he was probably the most in-demand guest poser for a span of 4, 5, 6 years at one point.
Good point. I never met him. I'd always wished I had, because I was one of the few pros that I kind of liked. I thought he was cool. Like you said, he never, even if he didn't do well, I didn't care. He was still one of my absolute favorites. He
was the first pro that I really got to know well, because he came out to California the same time I did. We were both from Boston, and then we were doing the show I was doing, American Muscle on ESPN, was doing a video shoot with him January, just as he had just been there for a couple weeks, just like I had. So we had a little bond over that. He was a cool guy, Mike. Funny as hell.
From Boston, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was from, we all say Boston. I'm from a suburb. He was from it wasn't technically Boston either, Somerville, but we just say Boston. I bet there's a ton of people who don't live in London who say they're from London. Yes. It'll be some suburb, north or south or west or something. Anyway, Terrence.
I got asked once by an American lady. I said I'm from Wales, and she said, "Wales, is that in London?"
I think I used to think it was in England. Yeah, we're not the most geographically savvy group here in the U.S.
Okay, I wonder who's got better geography knowledge, you or me about America, or you about UK?
Huh.
America's bigger though. America's a lot bigger. UK is probably about as big as one of your states.
I couldn't tell you anything about UK except Scotland is here, and then is Wales in the middle? No,
it's on the side of England.
Right, and then England takes up most of the island, right?
Yeah.
And then Ireland is over here, but don't you guys still have Northern Ireland? Isn't that part of the UK?
Correct.
But Ireland itself is not?
No. And that's why when I had my surgery, and it happened in Southern Ireland. And I thought I was going to get landed with the bill for the operation, because it would have been like, I'd have had to change my name.
Yeah, because
but they said no, we've got a reciprocal agreement with after Brexit. So if one of our people from Southern Ireland went and had got hit by a bus in London, we've got a reciprocal agreement where we will treat that we won't basically we'll treat them properly so they're okay, and vice versa.
Are you the only European country that does not have the euro as its form of currency?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to think. There's other countries. Not all countries have the euro in Europe.
But you guys never had it.
No, we never had it. And we were in the EU. We were.
So you still have like pence and pounds and crumpets, and I don't know what kind of money you have. Crumpets. That's not a money. That's not a form.
Crumpets. That's something you eat.
Patty says again, I think there's a lot to do with people's self-esteem, morals, and relationship more than anything. Phil is a homebody, family guy. Yeah, I could see that if one of the that's a compatibility thing with any. If you have one couple in general, forget about fitness, where one likes to stay home, read or watch TV, and the other one always wants to go out and party. That's not going to last. Yeah,
I like both. Both.
Yeah, you like both. Okay, so it's not like Lauren wants to stay home and you want to go out and party.
No, I mean, I when I lived in Newcastle, I used to be very much. I never wanted to stay in.
Yeah.
And then when I moved down here, I realized I needed to change my ways a bit and sort of stop being so crazy all the time. And now I'm more the opposite way.
Okay, gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean, I love my house. I don't like to leave my house, so I don't have to. Mike says, in my 20s, being jacked and being around that after party lifestyle made it difficult to be monogamous. 100%. 100%.
Probably should have been single.
Yeah, I mean, you should be single. I know, but unfortunately for me, I'm not going to make excuses for myself or make, the things I did in my 30s, especially I was a terrible person in a lot of ways, terrible husband at times, because I didn't get that physique and I didn't get any opportunity to be around that lifestyle, the partying scene, until I had been married for quite a while. Okay. But now here all of a sudden I'm out of town. I'm at these parties. There's drugs. There's the hottest women in the world running around half naked. And, if I was getting attention, it was very, I'm an attention whore. So if an attractive woman paid attention to me, it was very, very hard for me to ignore her. In most cases, I didn't ignore her. I'm not saying that I did a lot of horrible things, but it's so tempting. That's another thing, is when you have, I guess in any situation where one of the people has a lot more attention from the opposite sex and opportunities to stray and the other one doesn't, either one of them has to be really strong or the other one has to be like very trusting, or it could be a hornet's nest is all I'm saying. Yeah. I don't want to go into any more detail, but let's go.
Move to the countryside like me. That's the best.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So we're talking about test doses now. Sex drive on this gentleman. I'm on 160 milligrams test a week, and my sex drive is the same as when my levels were 250. Well, that might just say that I guess a lot of us are probably on more tests than we need to be. I just cut mine down a little bit to see what happens. So,
Ron, I'm on 0.5 mil of enanthate a week, and I've started to get gyno again on the right side. It's sore.
So that's 100 milligrams?
125 milligram, and it started to flare up in the last couple of weeks. It's sore because it went away. I was using a bit of Rimidex, and when I was on the TRT SUST, and now I'm just using 0.5 mil of enanthate, and I'm getting it's really sore. I'm going to have to get on some Rimidex again.
Oh yeah, you definitely need some of that. I see the crew sorta together again. Says, man, yeah, sorta. James Gary, I would love to find a woman my same fitness mindset, desire to achieve fitness goals. Yeah, it's funny. Even my son, who's he's not like a hardcore bodybuilder. It's not like his whole life, but he wants a girl that's a fit chick, I don't think that's a derogatory term. Fit chick. He wants if he's going to be in any kind of committed relationship, like a girlfriend, he wants a fit chick.
It shows that they've just got care for their health and their well-being and stuff like that. Because you want someone that's confident in themselves and want someone that's comfortable in their own skin. Because as people get older, you have to stay on top of that. You can't just, when you're younger, you can get away with it maybe a little bit more, but as you get older, I think. Like I do cardio 5-6 mornings every single week. You know what I mean? Because it just keeps body fat off, and I don't want to get fat.
Yeah. Another phrase I like is swole mates. So two fit people. Swole would be like a bodybuilder, I guess. So two of them together would be swole mates. I want to find my swole mate. He should say.
Yeah.
Me too, James. He wants to find one too. Mike says trend equals bad decisions. Well, trend plus ecstasy. Let's be real here, Mike.
Oh God.
I mean, like I said, it's not like a defense in a murder trial. You can't say, well, I killed that guy because I was drunk or I was on ecstasy or I was high. So if it doesn't work in a murder trial, you can't come back to your wife and say, yeah, babe, but I was so messed up. I had taken like 4 hits of ecstasy and I was all, it doesn't work that way. You have to control yourself. But yeah, being on gear, being on drugs like that make you just touchy-feely, lovey-dovey, extra horny, and around a bunch of hot chicks that are on drugs too, bad idea. Very, very bad idea. Listen up, guys. All right, Jay Masters, this is father. I don't know what that means. Oh, Kelly Reed, you're a female. Okay, I'm sorry. Because there's a Kelly Reed on my that's on my Instagram it's a male bodybuilder in the avatar. Well, thank you, Kelly, for being one of the few females, you and Patty, who ever come on this channel. I appreciate it very much. I don't try to make this a male only channel. I'd love to have all kinds of people here. All are welcome. Please subscribe, everybody. Our stuff. This is Turkey. He says he's telling me how long to stay there in Turkey, but we've already got everything booked, all the flights. Yeah.
When is it? When?
So I'm going end of next month, end of January.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
So if I go to the Arnold for any reason, I'll probably still, because they shave your head completely bald for that.
Yeah. And it looks weird before. It looks like really like sporadic, for the first. But like my hairdresser now, my barber now, he's got, it's great now. But for the first couple of months, you could see he'd had it done. But that's how it is before it all kind of comes back. But I think it's a fantastic procedure because it must be soul destroying for some men. It's but the fact that you can pay that and not pay an extortionate amount and get that sort of, imagine Chris Bumstead if he looked like Prince William in another couple of years, it would just kind of ruin the image, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
he looked like a monk.
I agree. Yeah, it's literally like 1/4 the price, 1/4.
And also a lot of women get it as well. Female bodybuilders, they get their hair thinning from taking things like Winstrol and all these other things. How many female bodybuilders and women's physique and figure even are either wearing wigs or their hair's really, some of them just don't care. They just let it, they'll scrape it back and you can see the hair like starts here. It's like, it must be, some of them just literally don't care, but most of them, I would imagine, really, really are self-conscious about it.
I can imagine if as a guy having your hair recede up to here is troublesome. I can imagine a woman, it'll be 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
His hair that's one of the things that we associate with femininity is long hair, breasts, hips. It's that whole package of femininity. So if your hair is almost gone.
What about the women?
That's what I'm talking about, women. Mike Cox says,
you mean the women as well? Okay.
Mike, do you think bodybuilders are more likely to develop a recreational drug addiction? What do you think, Charles?
I did. Well, I did when I was reckless with everything. I actually thought myself, because I ate relatively healthy, I thought I was a very healthy friend. And I used to look down on my friends who lived down south who used to party and take drugs every weekend. I really thought I was better than them. But actually looking back, the combination of all the different things I was using and doing, I was probably, it's amazing. It's amazing I'm still alive, actually.
Yeah, I think, I don't think, Mike, it has to do with being a bodybuilder. I think it has to do with either having an addictive personality or, they've actually shown there's a genetic component to it. There's some gene that makes you more susceptible to addiction. And, again, I'm not making excuses, but there's 7 siblings in my family. I'm the second to youngest. Several of us have battled drug addiction. One of my sisters passed away. She was an addict. So it definitely, horrible. I think there is a huge genetic component to it, but that doesn't mean you have to succumb to it. You can certainly don't have to, if you have, a lot of people probably are genetically inclined to be overweight. It just means they have to be more attentive to eating right and exercising. It doesn't mean they have to be overweight.
Well, bodybuilding can teach you discipline, and also it can, gear aside, I think it teaches you a lot about your body, and you learn how to respect your body. I know it sounds like a complete contradiction given what we have done, but I think on the whole, I think you learn more about nutrition. Like I was with a girl, and she had a child and stuff, and I taught him. He was like 6-7 years old. I taught him all about nutrition.
Wow.
And he was really into it, and he really understood things about carbs and fats. And his favorite meal was salmon with soy sauce and broccoli, boiled broccoli, because that was what I liked. I'd say, "Do you want a pizza tonight? Get you a pizza." And he said, "No, I that's my favorite meal. He said, I like it. And he said, I know it's healthy for me and it's good for me. So yeah, it's great.
I think that's who you were with when I first met you in person in Birmingham, right?
Correct.
Because I remember that story about the kid eating salmon. Because my kids hated healthy food, and I was like, "What?" I hated hearing anyone tell me my kids love vegetables. I'm like, shut up! No kids love vegetables.
I would say to him, I'd say, look, you don't have to just eat that because I am. I said, I'll get you something. I used to cook sometimes separate meals. And he says, no, he said, that is actually my favorite meal. Baked salmon with soy sauce on it and boiled broccoli. That's my actual, and a glass of mango juice. That's my favorite meal.
Christian, when he was younger, I think he subsisted almost entirely on chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. That was it.
Wow. Well, my cousin used to eat Weetabix, which is obviously cereal, and I think pizza. That's all he used to eat as a kid.
Wow. Another Mike Matarazzo reference here. Abhijit Nanda says Matarazzo probably had more personality than 90% of the bodies of that era. Pretty open to a lot of stuff. Yeah, Mike was great. I miss Mike a lot. Moving on now. Mike Cox says, I need the geography lesson on England as well. Thanks, Charles. Well, you know what? I used to like looking at maps of England in particular, not so much Scotland or Ireland, because living in Massachusetts and living in New England, almost every town they were like, oh shit, Lowell, oh Burlington. They were all places around me that obviously took their names originally from somewhere.
Birmingham, Portsmouth, all these places you've got them all, haven't you?
We do have all those, and the only other names we really have are like there's a few rare towns that have like the Native American names, but most that's rare. Like New York does a lot more of that, but in Massachusetts in particular, and New Hampshire, and even in Rhode Island, it's almost every town that's here, city, is taken from a town or city name in England. Yeah.
Rhode Island was the first place in America I went to when I was 15. We stayed at this family's house in Rhode Island, Providence, and it's the smallest state in America.
Yes, it's the Barbarian Brothers. One of them are David Recipe. The Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
They were from Rhode Island, and they were hilarious. I don't know if you ever had a chance to really listen to them when they were younger, especially.
Oh, the Barbarian films were my favorite films as a kid. Barbarians. I was amazed they didn't become bigger stars, actually, because they did a few films, but I thought they were going to go as big as Arnold because the fact they were twins and muscular, and I thought they were genuinely funny. I thought they were really, 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 really good. I feel like they didn't. If they'd had more opportunities, I feel if they'd have pursued that, I think they could have gone a lot bigger.
But one of their jokes about their state of Rhode Island was, our state is so small that last year they had the whole thing wall to wall carpeted. Oh, you remember?
Yeah. It's funny because I remember because the first thing I wanted to do was go to an American gym when I was there. I was 15. I was like 150 pounds, but obsessed with bodybuilding. And they said this is the smallest world gym in the country or in the area or something. It was 20,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And I mean, the gyms I was used to in Wales were not 20,000 square feet. I was so excited. I was just training for hours in there. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Good times. All right. James Gary says, is muscle mommy a derogatory term for women? Have you heard that term, Giles?
Not recently.
Yeah, I mean, well, because we're older. It's a young people's term. I see it on Instagram all the time, and it's usually girls in their 20s if they're serious about fitness and they lift weights and they have any amount of muscle, not bodybuilding, any amount of muscle. A lot of them refer to themselves as a muscle mommy. So I don't think it's derogatory if they're calling themselves muscle mommies. Yeah, but I like it. It sounds pretty hot to me. Muscle mommy. Oh man, I don't know. Mike says, still waiting for the tell-all bodybuilding book from Ron and Giles. Oh boy, I'm not writing mine for.
Do you know what? Lauren said? She said, you really need to write your book. And I said, Lauren, I can't. It would be not only would it be incriminating for me and a lot of other people. 100%. I would literally have to change my name and move to like Colombia or something. Literally move to New Zealand in Hobbit land or something, because I couldn't just gloss over it and change names or change dates. It'd have to be 100% true. Yeah. But by doing that, I would, because the bodybuilding world's quite,
very small.
I've been involved in a lot of different, aspects of the industry over many, many years of supplement business, and and I've been involved with a lot of different kind of people and groups, and thankfully it's very much behind me. But I think if I did, I would, some of those people as well as aren't with us anymore, and I just don't really feel like writing about those people. I don't think it's disrespectful to the families and stuff like that. But I mean, maybe I'll just write it and I'll just never publish it. But maybe when I die or something. But yeah, there's certainly some stories, but I would want to go all in with it if I did do it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned it. I have a book sitting up there that I wrote years ago, and it's mostly about my family, and it's a lot of like stories like that because they were involved. Some of them were involved in crime and addiction, and there's a lot of juicy stories. No one's ever read it. I'm the only one that's ever read that book.
Wow.
It's like a 300-page manuscript. No one's ever going to read it.
Really?
After I wrote it, I said, I couldn't put that out there. It's
Yeah.
this about my sister, that about my brother. I just didn't feel right.
You just be like Prince Harry.
Yeah. So maybe when I die, someone will find me.
Be the Prince Harry of bodybuilding.
Prince Harry. I'll address
Stitches get stitches.
We should team up with RX Muscle. Nah, no, I'm good. I'm all set. I got my own channel. Giles, are you launching your own channel soon? Don't you have a channel already?
Yeah, I did. I put a couple of videos. I put that Ukraine thing on, and I put the John Citrone interview. But I'm working on some other things at the moment. I'll be announcing very, very soon. But Lawrence keeps saying that but you know, I think I did need a little bit of a break from the media stuff and the kind of. I like to miss things sometimes. Do you know what it's like? I think it's sometimes good to miss something.
Yes.
Like if I went straight back in the studio and started recording and doing stuff and putting it on my channel, I think that's the best way to not just get stale, but take it for granted. I want to get to the point where I miss it so much that I just literally, like when I had that 3 months off last year off my heart surgery, I was so nervous, but nervously excited to get back. I remember Neil Curry, God rest his soul, came up and I was so nervous. And until I actually started filming, I just felt amazing again. And so I want to feel that again. I need to feel that again. So I'm not rushing into anything, certainly not this year anyway. But I mean, I'm not taking the studio down. I'm not, getting rid of it. But I've got a few things in the works, which hopefully will come off in the new year. And then I'll be ready to get back and really kind of get my teeth stuck in. Because like I said, I think it's good to sometimes hold yourself back a bit sometimes, like like an elastic band, and then you just snap back and you're fresh and you feel good and, so.
Yeah, I'm in the same
positive emotion,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worked now since that fateful day. Will be 3 weeks tomorrow. It'll be 3 weeks since I got that fateful phone call.
And Ron, I had such a good chest workout that night, and I was in the gym and I pulled the phone out. No. And then I just remember just going. I was so deflated.
I know. I'm sorry. I always hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate it. But
you shouldn't have been the bearer of bad news. It should have been somebody else. But there you go.
I know. Whatever. What are you gonna do? Your hair's thick. That's awesome. You could donate it to this is Alexandra. Woman here says, donate your hair. I think you can donate to for wigs for kids that have cancer or something. That's a real thing that you can do. Mike Cox says, if I got a hair transplant, Bob Marley. Well, you'd need the dreadlocks and everything, wouldn't you? But yeah. I think, does he look like Bob Marley? Not quite. Mike's a good-looking guy. Bob's a different look.
You could look more like Bob Marley than you or I could, I think.
Oh, well, sure. I mean, maybe Ziggy Marley. Patty says, that would be a great book. Let's go, Ron Giles, get writing now. By the way, Phil has a full head of hair. He shaves his head every other day. He's in the bathroom more than me. Wow. So I didn't know if he had there are guys who can grow a full head of hair that they shave it because they do actually look better. Like, I can't imagine you looking better with a bunch of bushy hair, Giles. Actually,
in fact, this is long. This is as long as I like it. I'm going to get it cut tomorrow if I can get off the lane because there's so much snow here at the moment. But remember when? And it's funny how different bodybuilders look when they have hair. Remember Sean Ray, 95, his hair was starting to go. I remember a picture in Flex magazine, and it was the most muscular. I was thinking, is his hair starting to go? And then in 96, he came in with the gold earrings and he shaved his head. I remember Ronnie in 2007, after he lost to Jay, he came back in 2007. I remember he did a tour of the UK, did a UK tour with BSN, and he looked so different with the hair.
Oh, wow.
Completely different.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I've seen pictures of you with curly locks, and you look 1,000 times. But yeah, you have one right there. You look.
Yeah, I would show them.
You're somebody with a very short hair looks great on. I can't imagine you with a lot of hair. I don't think it would be a good look for you. I go the shape.
I'll get a Kai Green ponytail.
Yeah, I mean, Kai's got some recession for sure here, but he's still got that ponytail that you could kill somebody with. I think he actually almost killed Phil with it that time, right?
Yeah. I saw a video today actually.
He whacked him in the head. James says, I'd like to say that I'm not losing my hair. I'm just getting more head. Wow. Okay. You got jokes today, James. All right. Okay. George UK. What is George's last name?
George White.
Oh, White. WHYTE.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know. My memory is it's so bad now. As soon as you said, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. But like, I'll sit there and like, what's that? What's that person's name? It's so frustrating. I don't think it's like early onset dementia or anything. But my mom's
interesting.
Okay, so he says Ron Harris, UK footballer, nicknamed Chopper Harris. Yeah. No,
and I had a great uncle that played for Wales rugby called Hocker Thomas.
What? Hocker?
Hocker Thomas. That was his nickname, Hocker Thomas.
Did everybody?
I think he was he scored some winning try or something when Wales won in 1908 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know this because we all Google our names every once in a great while, right? And that guy comes up a lot more than me, even though he hasn't played. I think he hasn't played a game since 1975 or something.
Isn't there? There's an American football player called Jay Cutler, isn't there?
Oh yeah, he was. I don't follow sports, so don't get mad at me, sports fans. But he was for the Denver Broncos. He was a quarterback.
Oh.
Jay Cutler, yeah. I mean, but Harris is a pretty common last name in the U.S. It's a Welsh name, actually. I don't know if you knew that. But our family, I've showed you the coat of arms. It's a bunch of hedgehogs.
I love hedgehogs.
But I don't know why the Harris family crest is a bunch of freaking hedgehogs. Do they have them as pets? Is that their spirit animal? I have no idea.
Lord Wombleface, I'll call you.
I mean, you have an actual hedgehog that comes into your garden occasionally, right?
Yeah, he's hibernating. I've not seen him for a few weeks. Now I'm all about Errol the squirrel and his little buddy.
Oh, fair enough. Joseph Arablo, competitor here on the East Coast of USA, I correspond with, says, I think he meant to, it's probably meant to say, my fiance is naturally ripped without ever dieting or even training, so we are a fit couple by default. Oh, well, not really, because she's just a genetic freak, but overall it's not necessary, but it makes things easier if you're both into it. Yeah, that actually would frustrate me if I had to diet and do a bunch of cardio to get lean and my partner was just shredded all the time. Yeah, I'd be like, bum. Even Janet gets mad because, if she sees that I still have abs or something, she sees me like flexing my serratus in the mirror and she goes, well, you're on GH because I'm on 2 IUs of GH a day, which does keep you leaner. So, but I don't eat much crap.
I have veins up the side of my abs, mate, all year round.
Outside your abs?
Yeah. Up my lower abs.
So a lot of people
hate all year round.
George, off to have dinner. That's right. It's 8:07 p.m. Right? Good to see you guys again. Thanks for dropping by, George. We appreciate it. So this has become like a hair. We're talking about hair now instead of relationships. 10 years ago, Mike says, growing my hair out was going to get braids. Stepdar said, you're going to get it braided around the bald spot. What the fuck? That was the beginning of the end. Yeah, see, I don't even know if I'm going to get my bald spot done. I don't know if they can do that at the same time. Because if you have to choose, I would definitely if I have to choose one or the other, this isn't that bad. But it's
right.
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
It's very thin. There's a bald spot. But I see this all the time in the mirror. The recession. Right. If I have to pick, I'm doing that one. George said, Clayhart, awesome rep for bodybuilding. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look great. Third place at the Masters Olympia after just barely getting over a huge infection in his leg. So God bless him.
Love Phil.
Ron Jeremy was called the Hedgehog. This is true.
Why?
Because his whole body was covered in bristly hair. He was such a physically repulsive human being. He just happened to have a large penis.
I know. Yeah. Have you seen that meme I've posted on my story? I don't know if you've seen it. And he's obviously it's a close up of his face. He's on the job and he's going, yes. It says, and it says he's Pavarotti. Singing.
Oh, it says a lot of young people today will never know the wonder of Luciano Pavarotti.
Yeah. So I put it on my stories and I put Pavarotti music over the top.
Ron Jeremy, I believe, is in jail right now.
Is he? Why?
Yeah, well, he had like a long history of sexually assaulting women.
Why?
Exactly why? Because he's getting paid to have sex with different beautiful women all the time.
It messes the head up, doesn't it? It messes the head up.
I think he was an addict and he was just not a good guy. And there was a lot of stories I read where he'd be at like the Rainbow Bar, I think it was. There's some popular bar on Sunset Strip in Hollywood that he hung out.
Yeah.
And he was always like grabbing women and pulling their pants down, trying to basically rape them in a club, like in the bathroom.
Imagine if like Janet was walking through a club and he saw her and he did that and you saw that, you'd fill him in, wouldn't you?
Oh, he'd have no nose. I'd probably take his nose right off. I'd probably take some of his ears off. I'd make sure he didn't do that again. No,
I don't think there's many wholesome people that come out of that industry, with a good 401k and and a nice sort of gold clock or something from the company, you know, and completely psychologically intact and good, happy relationships and well-adjusted children. I think they all come out a bit
damaged. Yeah, which is
yeah.
Well, the worst part is
physically damaged.
there were a tiny amount of
mentally
sex work. There were a tiny amount of women that did adult films for many, many years, but now millions and millions of women are making adult content.
OnlyFans.
Because I talk to people that think, oh, OnlyFans, well, they're just showing pictures of their feet. I'm like, no. Yeah, I'm sure some people are. But
Ron, a few years ago, I started dating a girl and she told me she did that. And I just thought it was just pictures and whatever. And then she kind of had a glass of wine one night and she basically went into detail about some of the requests and some of the stuff. And I just thought, this ain't going to work. This ain't going to work, this one. And I broke it off.
The last live I did yesterday, a guy said that on Tinder, one girl reached out to him and said, I'm making some content for my OnlyFans. Will you be in it? She was just like recruiting guys to be in her porn so she can profit from it. Yeah, God, we're getting
remember Rodney St. Cloud?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Rodney. In fact, he actually left that business because he told me his son was getting to the age where his son wanted to know what his daddy did. And he used to do the stripping, but he also used to do the porn and the porn films.
Right.
It was Hot Rod, that's what was his name, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he basically cared for his father who was sick and basically died for the last year. And then he retrained and he went into full-time care work.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah. So, because Steve Weinberger told me he banned him from his gym. He told me.
Oh, geez.
Well, he banned him. But Rodney was, he said he'd be at like one of these conventions or one of these porn conventions. And he'd just go up to a woman and say, there's my business card. I'd love to work with you sometime. Let's collaborate. And you know what that means?
Yeah, of course.
Crazy, really. He said it's pure business, Giles. It's pure business. He said I've worked with some wonderful professionals. He says, and I'm proud to call some of them my friends, and and sometimes their husbands are there on set. It's a crazy world. That's a world I don't understand. Sorry.
I do think a lot of the women come out of it more damaged than the men for whatever reason. I think they're used. They end up feeling used and discarded much more so than the men do. That's a whole other.
You only got to look at most porn to see that is not going to impact somebody in a healthy or positive way in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I watch porn on a fairly regular basis, a few times a week.
I'm watching it now.
You're watching it now? The tab up there, and a lot of the stuff I can't watch. It's like that's somebody's daughter. Some of it is like so violent, almost like just woman hating.
Degrading, isn't it? It's degrading. And then young kid. Thing is, imagine if you you're a bit older than me, but when we were teenagers, if we'd had access, if that had been the only exposure to like sex or whatever that we'd seen, I can imagine why a lot of kids now grow up a little bit messed up and a bit detached, and they can't form relationships, and everything's online and everything, and they can get access to all these videos from an early age. You've got like 10-year-olds with smartphones who can just access it. I mean, it scares the life out of me, actually. I mean, at least when we were kids, it was pretty much next to zero. You might be able to get a magazine or something. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't accessible, and I'm really, really glad of that, because I really fear for the generation of today with what they've got access to.
They've been so desensitized to all kinds of things. Yeah, I remember going in the woods. Me and my buddies hunting for porn magazines that had been discarded. We found one that was all like bloated from the rain, and the pages were stuck together. We'd still be like trying to look at it. We were ridiculous. Patty had to bounce, so she said the Jamaican Tank just got back from work, his training cardio session. So I'm going to jump. Good to see you guys together again. Always fun and tank. Next time we do my way. Thank you so much for
thanks,
stopping
Patty.
by, Patty. Please say hi to Phil for us. Hope you guys are both doing great. Having a great holiday season coming up. That's all our comments. We've been doing this for over an hour, Giles. We had a great show named Power Hour that was just really getting good, and then the plug got pulled out. But whatever. We'll do Power Hour again on one of our.
I was going to post today. I was going to start screenshotting all the pictures from all the Olympians and Arnolds we worked at, and I was thinking, I was like, as if it's in the past. But I just thought, no, I'm not going to post that actually, because we are going to work together again. Because I mean, we'll both be moving forward with everything we've got planned for next year and everything. But we're not. There's no way I'm leaving the industry. Absolutely no chance. Like I said, I'm a slave to it. I'm completely immersed in it, and I'm. There's a lot of different things that we can do, and a lot of different ways that we can contribute to the industry in a positive way, because that's what we've always done. Don't forget, like all the content we used to produce was very unlike a lot of the content, the clickbait, at the expense of the athlete, making, do you know what I mean? The stupid sound bites and the negative shit. We never ever went down that road. And I'm always very proud of the work we did there, Ron.
Yeah.
You know, because we really stood together, all of us, you know, all of us together on how we did how we promoted the sport. So I'm always and I think that needs to continue in some way.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think, you know, I'm not going to toot our own horns, but I think we're good for the industry because, yeah, positivity is something we all need. And I know I could have done more in terms of views. I could have gotten better numbers as the online editor if I'd followed that pack and done a lot of clickbait and really jumped on all the negative stories.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't feel good about myself, A, and B, I have to run into these people all the time.
Yeah,
I don't want to,
it's embarrassing. You don't want to do it. Plus, you just got to put yourself in their position. These people are the best of the best, the professionals.
Yeah.
You know, and when we critique, we do it with good intent, from a good place. So when I like to be able to, and also like if anyone ever challenged me at a show, oh, you said this, you said that, I'll always stand by it. I'll always justify it because I know that it's always come from good intent. You know, it's always come from a good place. Right. You know, if you just say everyone's amazing and everyone's great, it's like people just don't respect that. And on the other side, if you're just always negative and trying to make them look stupid and get clickbait, then that's not a good thing either. So I think we always struck a really, really good balance. And I'm very, very, very proud of what we did, actually.
Yeah. So guys, we're not going anywhere. You see, I'm still here. Giles is still here. We've been entrenched in this industry for our entire adult lives. Giles wasn't even an adult when he started this. He was still in high school.
19.
Yeah. Well, you just got out of high school. So we'll be around for a while.
Mags in the woods.
Yeah. And you started off as a photographer, correct?
Yeah, got some photography on the walls here, literally in the office. Photographer and writer and a reporter, and then it just kind of went from there. You know, in 2011, I started 2012 the videography, and then 2018 started the podcasting and stuff like that. I've done everything really: judging, competing, you name it, show promotion, the tours. You know, it's loads of different things. I love it.
We'll be around for a while, guys. We aren't going anywhere. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. We've been talking for quite a while. If you're watching the replay on this, appreciate it. But if you join us in live chat, very much appreciate that, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. It doesn't cost you anything. Helps me out a little bit. Like the video, share the video, turn your notifications on so you know when we're going live. And I want to give a huge thanks to this man right here, Giles Tiger Thomas, all the way over there across the pond, the Atlantic Ocean, for joining me today. It's late. It's 8:17 p.m. He's got to go night soon. Got to get his beauty sleep. So I'm going to let him go. But appreciate you guys all watching. Yeah, one last thing.
One last thing. I watched, upon your recommendation, I watched Evil Dead Rises on Netflix last night.
What'd you think? No.
I was cursing you, mate.
Okay, well, I watched Exorcist Believer a couple days ago.
Oh, I heard it's terrible.
Oh, it was so bad. It was awful.
How was it so bad? How did they get it so wrong?
Exactly. And you know what? They paid like $300 million for the rights. They've already got 2 more of them planned. Oh, it's awful. It is the worst. Yeah, Exorcist 2 was widely regarded as one of the worst movie sequels of all time.
Hard act to follow, though.
This is worse than that.
No.
Way much worse. So much worse. It's crap.
Was it worse than that last Halloween, which I haven't seen? Halloween Ends.
Worse than that, yes.
Wow. That bad. That bad. Worse than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake?
What's that?
Worse than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake with
I know who you mean. Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah, what did Michael Bay?
Oh, did he direct that?
Yeah, he directed it, and he did a great job with Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the remakes of that. They were fantastic.
Oh, the two reboots of Texas Chainsaw that they made earlier in with Jennifer Beals and the one that was out there. Those were excellent. Lee Ermey was our Lee Ermey, the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. Was great. But yeah,
it was him. That's right. It was him because I bought that. Lauren said, "Go to the charity," because they stopped selling DVDs in supermarkets, and I like to buy lots of DVDs. And Lauren said, "Go to the charity shop in town." She said they got loads in there. So I went in there, and I got like Aliens versus Predator. I got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Jessica Biel, and I paid like 50p each for them.
Is that like a half a dollar?
Yeah, like $50. I got like a bunch of them for like £2, you know, like $3. And I was just like, Lauren was right. There's some really good stuff here.
Cool. Well, so now, guys, you know which movies to avoid. For horror fans, do not waste 1 second of your time on Exorcist Believer. Crap. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed our discussion today. We'll be doing more of these. If you guys have ideas for topics that you'd like to see covered, I am going to be doing different type of content. I'm almost at the point where we can monetize the channel, and then I can start really making more different types of content, not just these live Ask Ron things, but any commentary that you have, anything you want to see in the future, please leave in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So that's it. Thank you so much, Giles. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you here next time.